Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2017 FBU National Championship Draw. There can be only one premier tournament in the nation, and this is it. 32 teams will enter with dreams, but only one can walk away a champion. We would like to thank Montclair State University for hosting this monumental event, and we'd also like to give a huge shout out to FBU National Championship contender, Team New Jersey, who's here in attendance. As we all know, recently the Southeast region was ravaged by Hurricane Irma. Here to deliver a message on the state of Naples, the site of our national championship tournament, the executive director of the Naples CVB, Mr. Jack Wirt.
Well, we want everybody to know that Collier County and beautiful Southwest Florida is open and ready for business. The storm certainly did hit our area hard, but we are hard at work cleaning up our beaches, getting the tree debris out of the way, and really making our Florida's Paradise Coast look exactly like people think it's supposed to look, and we'll be open and ready for business for everybody.
Thank you very much, Jack. Can't wait to get down to Naples. Without further ado, though, let's get this show on the road. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask you to help me and welcome into the stage a very dear friend of mine, Vice President of Player Development for the All-American Games, Mr. Steve Quinn.
Wow, great to be back up here again. Seems like only yesterday when we were sitting here 7 years ago at the first Football University National Championship. Over the years, we've seen some epic battles, we've seen some great football teams, and some great football players. I can remember back 4 years ago in San Antonio when we watched GFL play Team Maryland in the Final Four. Over 30 Division I players were on that field. We've seen Dallas three-peat. Who knows if that'll ever happen again. And last year, we saw Team Maryland with National Player of the Year, Antoine Littleton, literally run his way and his team to an 8th grade national championship. As we now enter into the Football University National Championship's 7th year, we are widely known as not only the biggest middle school football tournament in the world, but the one true national championship. Currently, U.S. Army All-Americans like Trevor Lawrence, J.T. Daniels, Derek Allen, two-time Football University National Champion James Cook, and rising star Texas A&M athlete Christian Kirk, all on the national scene, got their starts here at the Football University National Championship. Fast forward now 7 years, a lot of hard work by many people, and as we stand here today, we've had more tournament expansion with a play-in games this year on Thanksgiving weekend. The first weekend in December, we'll actually have 8 sites with 24 teams vying for their opportunity to come to Naples, Florida. As you heard from Jack Wirt, Naples is open for business. In light of the recent hurricanes in Naples and Southwest Florida, our prayers and our heartfelt warmth goes out to all Southwest Florida family and friends that we have down there. But the one thing they told us just a few days ago is Naples is open for business and will be open to the Football University National Championships come this December. Three months ago, the Sports Council and the County Council went ahead and passed a bill to build a sports complex that will house the Football University National Championships for years to come. It will be a television-ready stadium that will host the National Championships every year in Naples for 1 week. We're excited about having a home with the stadium soon to be built. The thought of middle school football on national television 7 years ago was a dream. Football University's National Championship brought you national coverage the last 3 years and has taken the tournament to another level this year. 11 Sports, the network that brings you the Big Sky, the Ivy League football games, as well as NBA, global soccer, rugby, and boxing, and now is available in 70 million homes, will air live 9 of our Football University National Championship games while we're in Naples. And of course, the swag. This tournament wouldn't be without the swag. Adidas has designed special jerseys for our regional and for our national championship games in Naples, Florida. Way to go, Adidas. The stage is set. From the company that brings you the Super Bowl of high school football, the U.S. Army All-American Game, Football University camps and events, it's now time, what all of you have been waiting for, the National Championship Bracket Show. We hope to see you in Naples, Florida.
To everyone in attendance and everyone watching worldwide, the first step to your path to Naples will be determined next. This is the FBU National Championship Tournament draw. Get your popcorn ready.
You can ask any coach, player, or fan. Before the beaches, the golf courses, the sunsets, Florida is known for football. But in Naples, Marco Island, you get them all. With the facilities and accommodations perfect for your off-season training, tournament, or event, Florida's Paradise Coast is Florida's sports paradise.
1, 2, 3, FBU, know! I want to find out how good I am. Yes, sir! If you relax, you get blown out. Let's get it done! Let's get it done!
What can you take advantage of right now?
I can push myself way beyond what you think.
So you love your game? So does he. You say ain't nobody gonna work harder? He said the same thing. You get an hour of training in before the sun even comes up, plenty of early risers out there. You got the gear, they got the gear. You got a secret weapon, this dude doesn't need one. See, this isn't just a game of inches, this is a game of ounces. And the next ounce you give might just be the one the other guy doesn't. Gatorade, rehydrate, replenish, and refuel.
This is a great, great honor. You're all gonna get a chance to show the nation what you can do.
You're here for a reason, because you care, because you worked hard, and you deserve every bit of why you're here today.
If you want to talk about a bowl game experience, and one that matters and is meaningful, this is it.
Into the end zone, touchdown. You keep your eyes open, your head up, and on your feet. You with me?
All the work, all the sweat, and all the tears we put into this, all paid off.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the FBU National Championship draw. The moment you're waiting for is right around the corner, but first, allow me to introduce you to our draw assistants. Welcoming back first, Steve Quinn, again Vice President of Player Development for the All-American Games. U.S. Army All-American Bowl Player Recruitment Coordinator and former coach with over 20 years experience. Everybody give it up for Mr. Freddie Brown. 2016 8th grade FBU National Championship Team Director of Team Maryland and founder of the Grassroots Youth Football Organization, Mr. Mike Anderson. Football University's Director of Football Operations and four-time Super Bowl champion, Mr. Mike Wilson. And joining me now, all of you in attendance and all of you at home are familiar with this young man. He is the FBU National Championships Governing Bodies Director, Mr. Eric Richards.
Chad, what's going on?
My man.
Hello to the audience out there. Now, you know I was on that side of the table last year. Did I get fired or I get a promotion?
Hey, Eric, I think you got promoted. They brought you here to keep me in line here today.
So dropping the ball wasn't a big deal?
No, it wasn't a big deal. Listen, I thought you were going to wear your glasses with me so that we could be twins here.
I'm going to do that so I can read these names right and make sure we don't have a mismatch.
So listen, Eric, while you do that, here's one thing that I want to ask you. There are a ton of student athletes out there who may not have participated in the FBU National Championship Tournament previously. What can they expect in this tournament?
Well, it's the most elite middle school tournament out there, Chad. I mean, the level of players that come and play in this thing is only going to rise your game. If you get knocked out the first two games, you got better by coming in this tournament. And the coaches that are in this tournament are the top around the country. And you'll see when we draw these cities of how competitive it is.
Well, with that said, let's get it on.
Let's go.
First thing we want to do is we want to explain to everybody out there exactly the way that this is going to work here. Now, we got to go to the paper for this one here, Eric. What you're going to see here is we have 4 bowls representing the 4 quadrants of the tournament. That's the West, the Midwest, the South, and the East. What's going to happen is within each bowl there are 8 balls, each containing a team name, each with 2 regions in that bracket. Within each bowl, there are red balls, I should say, that will be drawn first, and then yellow balls that will be drawn after that, and that is how the matchups will be determined.
Let's get it on.
Did I make that simple enough?
That's good. Other than the clear bowls and red balls and yellow balls, we're good to go.
We got it. We're going to start with the West region. Now, the West region, player development director for the West region is Mr. Edwin Weathersby.
Edwin's been with us for 2 years now, and he recruits our Army All-American players out there on the West Coast and is responsible for getting these team directors lined up and coming in.
Want to go down the teams that are going to be in the West region. In the Pacific region, there's the Bay Area Metro, there's Sacramento, Seattle, and then we have a play-in game.
Yeah, and a little bit about the play-ins. We've narrowed the field down to 32 this year, Chad. It's a more competitive. A lot of people would think it's one less game, but it's the 32 best teams out there. And then the play-in games are with the next 12 or 13 teams out there that are going to play in for that 4th spot in each quadrant.
There you have it. And in the Southwest region, the other side of the bracket, there's Team Arizona, LA Central, there's Orange County, and also Team San Diego.
It's a competitive bunch out there in the West Coast.
And to draw the West Coast, we're going to go again to Mr. Steve Quinn for that draw. The first red ball, Bay Area Metro.
Yeah, and the TD out there, Chad, is Carl Wilson. Carl's been in the tournament for about 5 to 6 years now, so he is well-versed in what's put together from a FBU All-Star team.
Next red ball, Team Sacramento.
And that's Darren Stahl, another one that's been around FBU for several years. That's a good second draw there.
Next up, the winner of the first play-in game.
And the play-in will be Columbia Basin versus Northern Washington. So that winner will be playing Bay Area Metro.
Next up, Team Seattle.
And I know Sacramento, if there wasn't an earthquake, there is one now. Seattle had 3 teams down in Naples last year in all 3 age groups, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Very powerhouse house of a team.
Yeah, they've run through that northwest corridor for years.
We'll head over to the yellow balls now. Team San Diego.
Team San Diego, the TD is Nate Roselle.
Next up, LA Central.
LA Central is somebody that's been around for a couple years, Freddie Artiga.
Orange County.
And Freddie does double duty with Orange County, and so he's going to thank Steve Quinn that the 2 teams don't have to play each other right out of the chute.
Finally, Team Arizona.
And Mark Dudley is our Arizona player development rep, Chad.
Now, as we take a look at that West bracket, are there any other matchups that really intrigue you there?
Yeah, the West backer. Obviously, we have the Seattle not having to play Columbia Basin in the first round. We got a natural matchup with San Diego and Orange County, and that little I-5 smack talk.
We cannot wait for that. Now we're going to move along to the Midwest bracket. Of course, the PDs in the Midwest, we have Lee Beckton, we have Matt Lauer, and of course we have Mr. D. Jenkins as well.
Whole Midwest is in good hands with those three guys.
In good hands. The teams in this, starting off with the Central region, we have Indiana, Kansas City, Minnesota, and South Dakota. In the Texas region, there's Austin, Dallas, Houston, and South Texas.
Let's get it on.
Let's do it.
Look who's drawing this round.
Drawing the Midwest bracket, our good friend, Mr. Freddie Brown. The first is open, and it's Kansas City.
And that's Mike Landry. He's the team director there, and he knows how to get to the Final Four. I can tell you that, Chad.
Second. We've got South Dakota.
And that's our good friend Jeff Adler, whose team made it down to the Final Four in Naples last year.
Good thus far. Here we go with the third. This is Minnesota.
Minnesota, our team director is Shane Ferguson. Does a great job up there. Shane's been around FBU for a couple years now.
And our fourth and final red ball. This is Indiana.
Indiana is run by Sarah Ransford, one of our female team directors.
Moving on to the yellow balls. First up, Houston.
Houston is ran by longtime team director Tim Jackson. He bounced around to the Atlanta region last year, and now he's back over in the Texas region, where things will be a little bit easier on him.
Coming up next, South Texas.
South Texas is run by Izzy Astran, also known as San Antonio metro area.
Our third yellow ball. This is Austin.
Austin is team directed by the FBU All-American coach Larry Shaw, who's been down in San Antonio and Naples, coaches our middle school all-star teams for us.
And finally, the fourth yellow ball is Dallas.
And that team director is Damian Butler, another one that has put out perennial powerhouse teams, was kind of in charge of the North Texas teams and been in the Dallas region for a couple years for us.
All right, those are our 8 teams, our 4 matchups in the Midwest. Let's take a look at the Midwest region and tell me what you see, Eric.
Well, Houston's glad to be back over there, and they get to draw Austin, but Austin's always a touchdown away from getting somebody to the quarterfinals, the Elite 8. And then the South Dakota, Indiana. South Dakota, don't sleep on those guys in South Dakota. They made it all the way to the Elite 8 last year and were competitive down in Naples.
And now it's going to head down to the south. This is a region that I know that you are very familiar with yourself, Eric Richards. The PDs down there, of course, are Freddie Brown as well as yourself, Mr. Eric Richards. Want to take a look first at the Florida region in the south. The first is a play-in matchup.
That's going to be Dade, the winner of the Dade-Panama City. We got Southwest Florida, we got Tampa, and then we got a play-in, Chad, with Sarasota and Orlando.
And, of course, as we move over to the southeast region, we have GFL, GMSAA, Kentucky, and another play-in game.
Yeah, and that'll play in Mississippi, South Atlanta, Gainesville out of Florida is coming up, and then South Georgia, which is a new team this year.
The south bracket is going to be drawn by Mr. Mike Anderson.
Mike's the team director of the 8th grade champion Maryland last year.
And the first pick is the winner of a play-in game.
Winner of the play-in game.
Second ball drawn.
Southwest Florida. That's the home field advantage Naples bunch down there and all around Naples.
Third up.
Who's going to play that play-in?
The other play-in game.
Wow, that's pretty good. So they'll get to scout each other down there as they play in.
And the fourth red ball. This is Tampa.
Tampa, and that's going to be our team director, Damon Ratcliffe, has headed up Tampa for us. So that's an interesting matchup. At least the play-ins will get to see each other in person the week of the play-in and scout each other to fullest. So that's great.
As we take a look at the yellow balls now, first up is Kentucky.
Kentucky is a Final Four participant for years. Our team directors there are Greg Mitchell and Bronson Gowdy. Do a great job, and it's a very big team.
Second draw. This is another winner of the play-in.
Good, and they'll be waiting to see the winner of Mississippi, South Atlanta, Gainesville, or South Georgia.
Up next, GMSAA.
GMSA's a tough team. They're headed up by team director Fred Larson, but I'm telling you, don't sleep on those guys. They just happened to be in a region with GFL and had to play the Browards of the world. They're one that could make it all the way this year.
And finally, GFL.
Yeah, GFL's headed up by team director Gary Dasher, and the name speaks for itself. They've proven themselves in this tournament right from the inception of it all the way up until last year. They had a 6th grade team in the championship game.
So this is a very interesting region in and of itself. As we take a look at this, I know that some of the games are going to be yet to be determined with the play-in. What do you see that draws your eye?
Well, obviously the Florida matchup of the play-in is going to be real interesting because somebody's going to draw the winner of the day game. But then the Kentucky GMSA and the GFL versus potentially South Atlanta or Mississippi, these are all teams that have seen each other for years, and so they're all familiar with each other.
We know that the South typically do have a ton of powerhouse teams. That is a look at the South bracket drawn by Mr. Mike Anderson. Now we're going to move over to the East bracket. Of course, PD over there in the East bracket, Mr. Tom McGuire. Starting off with the Atlantic region. The Atlantic region includes Maryland, Team Metro Maryland, New York City, and Virginia. The Northeast region, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and Rhode Island. This bracket will be drawn by Mr. Mike Wilson.
None other than Mike Wilson, our FBU head coach, 4-time Super Bowl winner. He's wearing one of the rings I see over there today.
I see the bling today.
Might be Super Bowl 23
There we go,
right
Mike.
there.
Don't knock the bowl off the table, Mike.
He was a receiver, so I know he's got good hands. I know he can open these things. There goes Super Bowl ring. Yeah.
Up first, Metro Maryland.
Yeah, Metro Maryland, the team director, Kevin Holmes. Maryland's got so much talent they can split into a couple teams here.
Coming up next, Virginia.
And that's our team director, Jawan Banks. He also has a 10-year-old team in the FBU NIT tournament that we're hosting down there, the 9- and 10-year-old tournament that the top 8 teams in the country from each age group are coming in and participating in.
Doing a ton to build things up. The next team, New York City.
Yep, Deshaun Thomas is going to be the first year in for New York City. We're looking forward to him. A lot of talent as of late at the high school level is coming out of New York City. One of the top offensive linemen in the country, Isaiah Wilson, came from Brooklyn last year.
And the final red ball, Team Maryland.
Yep, and that's held up by Mike Anderson. I can see him shaking over there about his draw. But that's what you get when you're the reigning champs. And he's done a great job of putting together a very, very competitive program.
As we move on to the yellow balls, first up, Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, our TD is Christopher Bicho. Rhode Island is a tough, scrappy team and got a team into the Elite 8 last year. Little old Rhode Island.
And next, Connecticut.
And that's our team directors that are split, Mike Rice and Kristen Giano, who head up Connecticut 5-star elite program. They're doing it the right way there, I can tell you that.
Here we go with New Jersey.
Now, Scotty Mack's our team director there, but the interesting thing about New Jersey is they're combining from the first time. In the past, they've been a north-south, Chad.
Yes.
They're combining, so it's all the talent in New Jersey coming together on one team. Look out.
And many of them are here in attendance with us
Absolutely.
here today.
And I see the size of these guys.
And finally up, Massachusetts.
Yep, and that's headed up by P.J. Vanderwright, who's been around the FBU brand for a long time, and he's had several teams in the Elite 8 and quarterfinals over the years.
So now we get to take a look at this bracket. This one feels especially intimate. We've got Mike Anderson in the building. We also have New Jersey in the building as well. What do you see?
He was shaking for a reason. Listen, Virginia's not a good first-round matchup for Maryland. That's Jawan Banks has put together a good program, and he's kind of locked down that whole state over there. So that'll be the first. If you had to say one game that everybody's watching, everybody's got their social media on that one. So that's a great matchup. And then the Connecticut-Massachusetts. Connecticut has steadily gained on Massachusetts each year. This might be the year that Mike and Kristen get that bunch over the top of PJ.
It's going to be a very special bracket indeed. And that's actually going to do it for all 4 of our brackets here today. What do you think? What are your overall thoughts on the tournament?
That was a good draw. I mean, the easy game's out of the way now that we got rid of that 64-man bracket. You go right into playing, GFL having to play right out of the chute and Virginia-Maryland matchup. And the easy games are gone. So you better bring your A game. You don't have that first game to tune up anymore.
That's right. So we got fired directly out of the chutes. All of our teams out there, you all get ready. And now we want to give a huge thank to our draw team. Again, Mr. Steve Quinn, Mr. Freddie Brown, Mr. Mike Anderson, and Mr. Mike Wilson. Everybody give a huge round of applause for those guys. In attendance here today, now you guys know who your first round matchup is. Thank you, FBU National Championship Team New Jersey. Round of applause for yourselves.
Yeah, get to work.
Want to remind everybody that if you want to get constant updates on your student athletes, you want to highlight your student athletes and take a look at some of the greatest across the country, tune into my show. That's the Ricardo Reports National Review each and every Thursday. You can check that out, Eric, on YouTube, on Facebook, as well as on Twitter as well.
Maybe I can be a guest one day.
Maybe you can be a guest. You can bring some insight there. And for everyone else, please stay tuned for our special Championship Week draw. That's going down after the first round games. Me and you, we're going to get back together and do this again.
Let's do it, Chad. I'm ready.
Let's do it. And I want to give a huge thank you to you, Mr. Eric Richards. You made today perfect for everyone.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. If one more step, and I'll be off the stage if I get depromoted from here.
There we go. There we go. On behalf of everyone that made today possible, again, this is your FBU National Championship draw for 2017, and I am Chad Ricardo. Thank you all very much.